Countdown from them. And what are you seeing? First slide. All right. Well, hello, Scouts and Scouters of the Great Rivers Council. Thank you for joining us tonight for our first ever Facebook Live Great Rivers Council virtual roundtable. I see we've got people rolling into the room, so we'll wait a few minutes before we get started too much. But welcome Dee and Chad and Janelle and Nick and Debbie and Jamie and Bill and Mike and Paul and Misty. So thank you all for signing in here, and we'll give a few more minutes as people start rolling in, and then we'll get going. As we're about to get started, I want to let everybody know that we have all of the members of our council staff on the call here today, and several of us will be participating in this presentation as we go through this slide deck and give everybody the latest and greatest for what's going on in the Great Rivers Council. It's a crazy time we're all in right now, and I want to thank everybody, first of all, for everything that you're doing to help deliver the scouting promise to our youth, to help us scout on, and for your continued support and service to the scouting program. In the face of everything that's going on right now, scouting is more important than ever. People are looking for leadership, and scouting produces leaders for today, leaders for tomorrow, and we're setting the example through everything that scouting is doing that we can give back to our communities. People are looking for a sense of normalcy, and scouting provides that in new ways and old. And people are looking for hope, and we can provide that hope as well. So again, thank you all for being here. Just a little bit of housekeeping on the format. We're going to go through this slideshow as I mentioned, and have several members of our staff participating and updating you on different things. We'll monitor the comments. If you have any questions or comments along the way, type them into that comment bar, and we'll try and either answer them through the comment bar as we go, or maybe save them towards the end to fill you in as we go at the tail end of the meeting. We're recording this as a live event, so it'll show up in the videos on the council Facebook page after this is all said and done. So don't worry too much about taking notes or trying to jot down web pages and addresses or whatever shows up on the screen, because you'll be able to go back and look at it later. Also, if you would, and I see some have already done it, but chime in, tell us where you're watching from. I think most of the folks that are on here are from the Great Rivers Council, but I have a suspicion we're going to get folks coming from all over creation to join us here. But again, thank you for being here. To kick things off, I'm going to pass it over to Chris Harper, our district executive in the Osage Trails and Kinderhook districts, to do an opening for us. All right. I appreciate Chris doing an opening there. Unfortunately, I'm also getting some feedback that the only audio that is coming through is my voice. Hopefully, it is still coming through. So we're going to reboot a little bit here, and I'm going to continue through this presentation, and I'll just cover all the material as we go. Um, Wanted to make sure everybody knows that in spite of everything that's going on here, the council office is open. Our amazing support team, Stacy and Drew and Taylor, are taking shifts every weekday, from, covering the office between 8 and 5, and they're available to take your calls and answer your questions during those hours. Our field staff is always available by phone, and so feel free to reach out to them. And the field staff that normally works in the office, I will mention that if you go to the Contact Us section of our council webpage, that has been updated to include cell phone numbers for everybody, regardless of where their normal work location is. So you'll be able to reach your district executives and want to make sure that you know that we're available to support you. I mentioned Taylor earlier and thought we'd take a minute here to introduce a couple of new members to the Great Rivers team. Uh, Taylor Kreitz joined the Great Rivers Council as our new development associate on the 9th of March. Taylor's an Eagle Scout from Farmington, Missouri, and a Mizzou graduate. He worked in the jewelry business after graduating from Mizzou, but was looking for a way to devote his career to a higher purpose. When he saw that the Boy Scouts of America was hiring, he applied with a desire to give back to that organization that had meant so much to him growing up. Taylor enjoys backpacking, listening to bluegrass music, and playing his guitar. He's covering the 11 to 2 shift at the office each day and can be reached at extension 205. Christina Butler joined our family on April 1st as the district executive for the Five Rivers District. Christina was born just up Highway 54 in Pittsfield, Illinois, and grew up in that area, grew up in the Girl Scout program. So she believes strongly in the values and life skills that scouting develops in our youth. She's been living in Jeff City for the last 2 years with her daughter Evie and her mother. She enjoys binge watching historical fiction, playing Uno, and practicing archery with her daughter and having coffee with friends. She can be reached on her cell phone at 217-971-2783, and is excited to get to know all the folks in the Five Districts. So please join us in welcoming Taylor and Christina to our family. First thing we want to talk about is the Scouting at Home program. I hope everybody is receiving emails once a week. We started them, I think, 2 weeks ago on the 27th of March, if I have my dates correct, sending an email out to everybody we have in our email distribution system with the different things that we're trying to do programmatically to make sure that people can scout on and that everybody continue what they're doing, working on rank advancement and so forth. So if you visit our council webpage, or the Scouting at Home link at the top of that webpage, you can keep up to date on everything that's going on. One of the things, as I mentioned, we've got the emails that are coming out. They've got program ideas and activities for scouts and for leaders. You'll have things like the 30-day challenges for Cub Scouts and for Scouts BSA, the Brown Sea Challenge for the Scouts BSA youth. We have online merit badge offerings. We've already run a number of them, and we have more. We have a chess tournament coming up. So we have a lot of great things going, and all that information comes out in those emails. So if you're not getting those emails, send an email to me or to Thomas Yang, or visit our webpage, and there is a link there to where you can join our email list, and that'll get you added in. We also, as I mentioned, have a page on the council website with all of that email content and a whole lot more information, links to requirements for the different activity badges, links to other things going on, other resources related to advancement, and all the different things that you're finding. From the national organization. We also have coming up on the weekend of the 17th, 18th, 19th, particularly on the 18th of April, a virtual camporee that we're planning. We're going to have an opportunity for scouts of all ages, Cub Scouts, Scouts BSA venturers, to join us in a virtual camporee. We will have activities scheduled throughout the day, uh, lessons on things in the metalworking shop down at camp. I believe we're going to be doing a sword building. We're going to have some Dutch oven cooking. We'll have skits. We'll have all kinds of different things that everybody can participate in, and hope that everybody will join us at the virtual camporee. And there'll be more information coming out about that in this week's Scouting at Home email. We also want to make sure that units know that they can do remote meetings. We've got a number of units that are doing that. So we'd encourage your units to continue meeting, whether you're meeting as a den or as a pack or as a troop. There's a lot of groups out there that are having a lot of success using formats like Zoom and WebEx and GoToMeeting and Skype. We have gotten some guidance from the national office that they recommend that we use the business-oriented platforms like those that I just mentioned, and not the gaming-driven ones like Discord and some of those. We've also been advised that it's best not to record those things due to the myriad of different laws that cover the filming and recording of youth that vary all throughout the states all across the country. Wanted to talk a little bit about program. We've got some good things going on in the program side of things in the advancement arena. There's a lot of good information out there on the web. You can find information from the national organization about the coronavirus and their guidance on that at the website that you see on the screen. The frequently asked questions document is a very often linked resource. Has got a lot of good information in it about what's going on and how advancement is being impacted by the coronavirus and how you can continue to work on the advancement activities. There's also the possibility, if you've got a scout that is in need of an extension to work on their Eagle project, and it was delayed as a result of the coronavirus, that there's an opportunity to do that, and there's a link on this page right here where you can go to get that paperwork to file that extension. Want to make sure everybody knows about all the apps and tools that are out there to make tracking and managing advancement for your individual scouts as well as your unit easier. The MyDot Scouting webpage and the My Scouting app, in combination with the Scouting app, both of which you see on the screen there, can be downloaded to your phones either through the Play Store or through Google Play, and those you can link to your scout and track your individual scouts and your youth on everything that they're doing. Parents are encouraged to right now, with everything that's going on and the social distancing, parents are encouraged to record the advancements, and those go into the system, and their den leaders can review those, and we can make sure that scouts are continuing to advance through the program utilizing that scout book. The screen that you see here is a sample scout book page that you can access at the website address that you see on the screen there. Now, when you go to that page, there will be 3 different options of potential users that you can pick here where it says select user, and you can go in and log in, and without impacting anything or messing anything up, you can try your hand at the Scout Book app and the Scout Book program and get a better understanding of how it works. Through that app and program, you can find den leader guides and meeting plans and all sorts of resources, everything you need to be able to run a meeting and help your scouts continue scouting on. Want to talk a little bit about some training things that are going on. I don't know how many of you joined us last Friday, but we want to make sure that we're providing programming and opportunities, not just for our scouts, our Cubs and our Scouts BSA youth, but for the adults as well. So last Friday evening, with a few glitches, somewhat like we've had this evening, we offered the hazardous weather training to our council Facebook page. Some fun and dedicated adults took some time to volunteer their time to put together a video on hazardous weather training that is posted on our council Facebook page in the video section. You can go through that video, answer the questions associated with it, and we will get you credit for having completed the hazardous weather training. If you're a member of the Great Rivers Council, send us a note at the office or wherever you come, send us a note, and we'll either get your training recorded, or if you're from somewhere else, we will forward you a training card. We're also trying to bring some of our outdoor leader training into the virtual world. So beginning next Friday on the 16th of April, we will start a virtual SLU, Scout Leader Outdoor Orientation Training, that we have here in the Great Rivers Council. For those of you not familiar with it, SLU is the combination of the Introduction to Outdoor Leader Skills training that's required for all Scoutmasters and assistants, and Baloo training that is required for any Cub Scout leader that's planning to take their Cub Scout pack or Webelow den camping. That combined training will be run through a series of Facebook Live events, 6 sessions in all, and anybody who participates in all of those will get credit for having completed that training. So once we get away from the social distancing, we'll be able to hit the ground running. Nova Camp was on the calendar for the first weekend in May at Missouri Military Academy. Unfortunately, the school there is closed for outsiders, so we're not going to be able to use that facility. So there's a lot of activity going on right now as we're building a virtual Nova Camp so that we can continue to provide that program for all of your Cubs. It's been such a popular program for the last several years, and we're going to make sure that we can continue that. The fall Nova Camp is still on the books for August. I want to make sure everybody knows that. Registration and information will be out on that very soon. So be sure to keep your eye on our webpage and on our Scouting at Home emails to have that information. I want to talk a little bit about summer camps. Um, there's a lot of things going on in the world right now, and a lot of concerns over the COVID-19 and coronavirus. But we want to make sure everybody knows that we have not made any decisions. We're not making any changes or cancellations to any of our summer programs, but we are making sure that we're following all of the information that's coming out from the CDC, state and local authorities, because as a good friend of mine said years ago, fun is a byproduct of safety. So making sure that we have a safe environment for our scouts to experience all of the fun and adventure that summer programs offer is top in our minds, foremost and paramount. So we are monitoring all of these resources. We're going to keep track of those things. We're also working with our council physicians to review our medical protocols and evaluating our various program offerings and delivery methods and schedules and so forth to make sure that we take everything into account. Uh, Also, I'm not sure everybody is familiar with it, but I thought I'd just mention to you that you may not be aware, but the National Organization of the Boy Scouts of America has a program called the National Camp Accreditation Program. And that's something that every camp and every program goes through on an annual basis to make sure that we're doing things the best way, using all of the best practices of the Boy Scouts of America in terms of safety and programming and staffing and training and everything that we do to make sure that that program is the best it can be for your young sons and daughters and scouts and cubs to make sure they get the best possible experience they can have. And we are evaluating everything that we're doing in light of the virus and so forth to make sure that we are staying at the forefront of this and are able to provide a great program for your scouts. We're kind of working on what I would refer to as a rolling 30-day window as we're evaluating our programs as they come up in terms of what changes we may make. So we are still on for summer camp, not making any changes or decisions at this point. We're just watching everything closely. Um, our summer camp, a resident camp at the local the Ozark Scout Reservation, the staff is hired and in place and has already begun the training, and we're doing that through Zoom meetings and so forth to make sure everybody's up to speed. Day camp registration is open, and our day camp directors are meeting and have already had several meetings face to face before this all came down, and they're continuing to work and develop their programs and build their staffs so they can be ready for day camp when the time comes. We are also going to be running a Zoom meeting on Saturday, the 18th of April, for all of our folks that are interested in the summer programs and more details about what I've been talking about here. So keep your eyes peeled on your emails and so forth, so you've got more information about that. A little bit on fundraising and finance. The camp card program, as you know, rolled out. It's kind of tough to be selling camp cards right now, given the social distancing and the issues that we have there. So this program has been extended. You are able to continue to sell the camp cards all the way through the 15th of July, and we encourage the scouts as they're going through that to get out there and sell those cards and earn their way to camp and make sure that their adventures are funded all along the way. If you can sell the cards online to family and friends and so forth and deliver them once the restrictions come down, and the money won't be due. The $6.50 for each card is the commission that the units keep, and the cost or the payment for the card won't be due until the end of July on the 31st. Friends of Scouting. As you might imagine, the Friends of Scouting campaign has kind of slowed down. We're not having blue and golds and courts of honor and so forth to have the family Friends of Scouting presentations done. Some of our patron events have been postponed or canceled due to the issues that we're facing here. But Friends of Scouting is as important as it's ever been, so we can continue to provide the support and the programming that we're offering now that we've been talking about here this evening. So we encourage anybody to visit our friendsofscouting.org webpage. Continue to support if you can in any way as a monthly recurring gift or a one-time gift. It's all very important to making sure that we're continuing to be able to deliver that promise of scouting. Product sales, we will be having a meeting, a Zoom meeting to kick off our fall product sale this coming Monday on April 13th. So keep your eyes peeled on our webpage for an invitation to that. But we want to make sure that everybody attends that Zoom meeting and learns everything that you need to have about what's new and different coming up in the product sales. And related to the product sales, I wanted to talk a little bit about the registration fees. As I'm sure everybody recalls, we had some changes to the registration fees a year ago in 2019 and at Recharter for this current 2020 year. The fees for youth from the Great Rivers Council, in addition to the national registration fees, were $120, $125 per youth, plus another $9 for that program fee and another $9 per adult. This year, the council executive board reviewed things and we're trying to make things better. We've reduced that fee by over 50%. So for 2020 and 2021, for scouts that register this year and going into the recharter for next year, the Great Rivers Council fee will be $60 per youth, period. The adult fee will be $36 per adult. That is the council fee. The national registration fees, which are currently at that same amount, would be charged on top of that. But that is a major reduction in what the costs are for folks. We hope that that's well received. We shared that information on a number of occasions beginning back in February, but wanted to make sure that everybody knew that that was the case. So with that in mind, I'll remind you also that, as I said earlier, the camp cards are returning $6.50 or 65% of every $10 camp card that's sold stays with that unit. And our popcorn and burger sales will still have a 50% return, 50% commission. So 50 cents on every dollar that's sold in those products is going to stay with your unit. So that will be a great way to fund those adventures as we get back out there and continue our adventures in scouting. I don't know what questions may have come across the board here, but I hope that we've covered a whole lot of things. Unfortunately, because it was all left to me to go through all of these details, I don't know that we got all the information covered as in depth. In fact, I'm quite certain that I did not do as good a job covering things as Rob or Arrow or Greg or Thomas might have done. But we wanted to make sure that you got this information for us and that you know that we're available to support you in any way that we can and to support your scouts. We hope that everyone is well and staying safe and following the guidelines. And we look forward to getting back out there and see everybody face to face and spend time out in the woods and doing all of the things that the outdoor adventures of the scouting program make possible. It is the greatest classroom of all to help our youth become the kind of adults we want them to be in the future. So we're really looking forward to getting back out there. So as we wind things down here, and I'm not seeing any questions through the bar here. but make sure that we've got everybody covered here. Um, I see Greg posted the link to where you can sign up for the virtual unit funding meeting. Make sure you sign up for that. There's going to be some good new information there. Uh, see, rolling through here. Order of the Arrow virtual elections are available. Matt Pig, thank you for those. I believe that the Order of the Arrow section conclave that's coming up later this month, if I remember right, is going to be a virtual event, and I'm sure there'll be more information coming out from our non-posse lodge leadership to share with you more information on that as it comes out. Um, Also make sure, as Debbie Backus pointed out there, that the Merit Edge College in Lynn, scheduled for July 25th, is still on. No changes there yet. We're monitoring things there as well. Merit Badge Day at Mizzou is scheduled for October 3rd, and we're actually have a Zoom meeting tomorrow to do some more planning on that and plan to get the registration up over the summer again. So, like I said, we're excited to get back out there with everyone and continue our scouting adventures. Again, thank you all for joining us tonight. Thank you for everything you're doing to continue to support the program and to make sure that Scouting thrives and continues, and that our young people have positive things to do, and that we're building this program for the future and creating the citizens of tomorrow. So as we close here tonight, again, thank you for scouting on. And I'd like to share with you the scout benediction that we used when I was a scout growing up. And I'm sure many of you have heard this before. But as we close here, and now may the great master of all scouts be with us until we meet again. May we run the race at a good scout pace up the trail that leads to him. Thank you again for joining us today. Good night, Scouts.